Yeah. So here, in order to show this law of conservation of momentum, I'll consider two objects A and B. Okay. So let us say, for example, this object A has a momentum PA, and this object has a momentum PB. Okay. And after collision, let us say PA dash and PB dash are their momentums after collision. Okay. So this is a situation before collision, and this is a situation after collision, right? So now what happened to A, okay, and what happened to B? Why was there a change in their momentum? Okay, it was because whenever collision took place, there was a force acting on each other, right? Now, if I just see what is the force on A, okay, if I just consider what is the force on A, I will not see what is the reason for this collision. I will only see that what happened to A. Okay, so it becomes very simple that let us see what happened to this object, that is A. Okay, so A after collision had a momentum P A dash, and before collision its momentum was Pa. So when collision took place, surely what happened to A? Just see what happened to A. If you just see what happened to A, you will see that its momentum changed from PA to PA dash, and let us say it changed in a very small time delta t. Okay. Now why did this equation come into play? It's because from Newton's second law. Okay. What does Newton's second law say? So according to Newton's second law, force is equal to rate of change of momentum. Okay, I am not dealing with what happened to B. So when collision took place, A exerted some force on B, B exerted equal and opposite force on A. So what happened to A now? What was the force on A? Maybe due to B. So what happened to A is important. Okay, so what happened to A here? Its momentum changed from PA to PA dash. So change in momentum is PA dash minus PA, and rate of change of momentum divided by delta t. Okay, so Newton's second law basically says that force is equal to rate of change of momentum. Okay, so Pa dash minus Pa divided by delta t, that is what was the change in momentum. Okay, now let us see what happened to B. Okay, what was the force on B due to A, right? Now this force on B due to A was change in momentum of B. So here we are not concerned about A now. What happened to B? That is important. Okay, it is because of A. So here what happened to B? Initial momentum of B was PB. Final momentum of B is PB dash. So its momentum changed from PB dash to PB. So divided by delta T. Okay. Now from Newton's third law, from Newton's third law, what we basically get here is that both forces FAB should be equal to FBA, but their directions will be different. FAB will be equal to FBA, but what will happen to their directions? Their directions are basically going to be equal and opposite. Okay. So according to Newton's third law, action and reaction are equal, but we should never forget the word opposite, right? So we have introduced that minus sign over there, right? Now, what was FAB? What was the force on A due to B? That was PA dash minus PA divided by delta T. And what was the force on B due to this? That was PB dash minus PB divided by delta T. See, whenever two objects interact with each other, the time of collision is same. What time A collided with B, the same time B also collides with A. So this time basically remains the same. So this we can just cancel over here, and we'll get the equation PA dash minus PA is equal to minus of PB dash minus PB. Okay. Now if I just change the signs over there, okay, if I just go further bit, I'll get PA dash minus PA equal to minus PB dash plus PB. Why should plus come over there? The reason for plus coming over there is because of minus becomes plus, right? I'll shift this minus PB dash here and this minus PA over there. Okay, so PA dash plus PB dash equal to PA plus PB. Now, what are PA dash and PB dash? If you see the statement over there earlier, okay, if you see the diagram over here, PA dash and PB dash were the momentums after collision, whereas PA and PB were the momentums before collision. And what we saw by applying Newton's second law, what does Newton's second law say? That force is equal to rate of change of momentum. So what happened to A? If you see its momentum changed from PA dash to PA to PA dash. What happened to B? Its momentum changed from PB dash to PB. So what must be the force? Change in momentum divided by time. So PA dash minus PA upon delta T. FBA is PB dash minus PB upon delta T. And when you equate them, we get this equation. PA dash plus PB dash equal to PA plus PB. So here, this is total momentum. I'm not saying individual momentum. So total momentum after collision is equal to total momentum before collision. And this is how you are basically going to prove law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so again, if I just go back to the statement over here, okay, that what is basically law of conservation of momentum, it basically states that in an isolated system of interacting objects, the total momentum basically remains constant. Okay, so you can just practice this derivation where you are able to show total momentum after collision is equal to the total momentum before collision. Okay, so this is what is basically the law of conservation of momentum and how we prove it. So let us say, for example, we'll take a case, okay, how it is applied. Okay, so let us take an example that, say, an object of mass, we'll take a simple example. Let us say I have a sphere, okay, a sphere is there, then I have, say, one more sphere, right, and these two spheres, okay, let us say one sphere has a mass, okay, let us say this mass is 2 kg and it was moving with velocity, okay, normally I will say initial velocity is 25 meters per second. Okay, now let me take another object M2 which is of 3 kg and it is, say, moving with a velocity of 10 meter per second. Okay, you have first object of mass 2 kg moving with velocity 25 meter per second, second object of mass 3 kg and its initial velocity is, say, 10 meters per second, right? Say after collision, so this is a situation before collision. Okay, now let us see what happens after collision. Say after collision, okay, the object 1 which was having mass, okay, so the object 1 which was having mass 2 kg, okay, so this is object A, it started moving with a velocity of, say, 10 meters per second, right? Then what is the velocity of this object B? Okay, say now this is the object of mass M2 which is 3 kg. My question to you all is, what is the velocity of this second object, that is v2? So before collision they had certain momentum, after collision they had certain momentum. Okay, so normally u is the term for initial velocities. So here we have u1 and u2. V is the term which I will use it for final velocities, v1 and v2. Okay, so how do I apply law of conservation of momentum here, right? So total initial momentum, how do I find total initial momentum? I'm not saying individual initial momentum, I am saying which word here, total initial momentum. So total initial momentum, what is the total initial momentum? If I just calculate, it is m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Okay, so what is the initial mass? 2 kg, and with what speed it is moving? 25 meters per second. What is the second mass? 3 kg. With what speed it is moving? 10. So what is the total initial momentum will get? Total initial will get 25 into 2, that is 50 plus 30, that is 80 kg meter per second. So this is the total initial momentum. Okay. Now what I'll do, my question was to find what is the final velocity v2, correct? What was my question? My question was to find the total velocity v2 after collision. Okay, so what is the situation after collision here, right? So this is a after collision. So after collision, if I find the momentum, okay, so if I just calculate that total momentum after collision. Okay, so what I'll have to do here, I'll have to use m2 v2 plus m1 v1. Yeah. So what was m2? If you see the question, m1 was 2 kg, velocity was 10. m2 is 3 kg, I don't know the velocity. Okay, so m2 is 3 kg, velocity I don't know. m1 was 2 kgs, and the velocity there is 10 meters per second. Okay, so it means it is 3 v2 plus 20. This is the total momentum after collision. Okay, so total initial momentum, as you could see here, this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Okay, so we should have the situation where initial momentum is basically equal to which one? Final momentum, right? So total initial momentum must be equal to total final momentum. That should be the situation. Okay, so total initial momentum is 80, that is equal to 3 v2 plus 20. Okay, so from this, okay, so from this what we can get over here is 3 v2 equal to 80 minus 20. Okay, so the value will be yeah, it will be 80 minus 20. Okay, so 3 v2 is 60. So v2 is 60 by 3, which is 20 meters per second. Okay, so what has happened now? If you see the answers, what I got, the second velocity is 20. Okay, and this was the answer which I got, that see none of the velocities are 20 as per the question. One was 25, other is 10. Next time after collision, one is 10, other is say the value has changed to 20. But one thing is sure, that the total initial momentum must be equal to the total final momentum, right? So I was able to find with what velocity that 3 kg object will move after collision. If the value of the first object was how much? 10. Okay, so this is basically what I call it as, or what we basically call it as law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so momentum before collision will be always equal to the momentum after collision. That is what is law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so this can also be applied for what is called as the recoil of a bullet. Okay, so I'll just do it mathematically here. Okay, so what is basically whenever a bullet is fired, okay, so the moment a bullet is fired, which we will see here, right? So how is this momentum basically conserved in the firing of a bullet? That we will see. Okay, so whenever, say for example, from a gun, okay, say a bullet is fired, then bullet basically goes in the forward direction, gun will recoil. Okay, so we have what is called as the derivation for recoil of a gun. Okay, now what is this what is this recoil? Is that the moment a bullet is shot in forward direction, the gun basically will come slightly in backward direction. That is basically called as which one? Recoil. Okay, so initially, if you observe here, let us say VB is the velocity of bullet and VG is the velocity of gun. Okay, both are the situations after firing. VB and VG are the situations of the gun after firing. Why I'm saying after firing? Before firing, both the gun and bullet are initially at rest. Okay, so let us say the mass of the gun, just gun without bullet, is mg and mb is the mass of the bullet. Mass of gun, mass of bullet. Okay, now our idea is to see with what speed the gun is going to recoil, and we are trying to do the calculation, right? Now, total initial momentum, when the gun and the bullet were together. Okay, so neither the gun was in the motion nor bullet was in motion, but the total mass, if you take, so mg plus mb, both were together inside the gun and their velocity is zero, so their total initial momentum is zero. Okay, so total initial momentum of the gun is basically which one? Zero. Now, after the bullet is fired, right? So after the bullet is fired, what happens? So total momentum after collision, after in this case, after the bullet is fired. So after the bullet is fired, the bullet is separate, gun is separate. Do you think that the gun will also go in the same direction as the bullet? I don't think so. Okay, so the gun will recoil. At the velocity with the gun will hit back, that is called as the recoil velocity. The bullet goes in the forward direction. Okay, so here let us say mg was the mass of the gun, vg was the velocity of the gun, mb is the mass of the bullet, vb is the velocity of the bullet. This should be the momentum after the firing. Okay, so momentum before firing was zero. Momentum after firing is both are now in motion. The bullet goes in forward direction. The gun will be in which direction? Backward direction. Okay. But again, both should be equal. Okay. So we should use the situation where both the bullet as well as the gun are which one basically their total momentum must be equal. Okay. So if their total momentum must be equal, okay, that is total initial moment or total final momentum, okay, must be equal to total initial momentum. Okay. Now tell me, what was the total initial momentum? The total initial momentum was 0 and final momentum is mgvg plus mbvb. Okay. Now, what does it basically mean? mgvg is equal to minus mbvb, or vg equal to minus mbvb divided by mg. Okay. So this is the formula for recoil. Why I'm saying recoil here? You should understand that if, say for example, this is the bullet, okay. So if the bullet is going in this direction with velocity vb, okay, the gun which is firing it, okay. Say for example, the gun is of this shape, okay. So the gun which is basically firing it, that will go not in the same direction because of this negative sign which you can see over there. The gun is basically going to go in which direction? Opposite direction. So the gun basically, we call that the gun basically recoils. So bullet moves in forward direction, the gun will basically move in which direction? Backward direction. Okay. So this is called as, what is called as the recoil velocity of the gun. So how did we do the derivation? So in order to do the derivation, what did I do? I consider Vb as the velocity of the bullet, okay, and Vg was the velocity of the gun, right? And then we started doing the derivation, and then we got this particular result, that velocity of the gun is minus mass of bullet into velocity of bullet divided by mass of the gun. Okay. So this is how you can find. Let us say, for example, the mass of the gun is say 5 kgs. Okay. The bullet's mass is say 20 grams. So it will be 0.020 kgs. Let us say the bullet is going with a, okay, let us say the bullet is going with a speed of 100 meters per second. Now question is, what is the recoil velocity of the gun? If I ask this question, then the recoil velocity of the gun, as you could see the formula, it is mass of the bullet, velocity of the bullet divided by the mass of the gun. What will be the values now? The values will be 0.020 into 100 divided by 5. And what will be this value if I just calculate it? Okay, so you will get 20. Okay, so 0.02 into 20, right? So it will be 0.4. Now just see with what velocity the gun recoiled. The gun recoiled with a very small velocity. What was that very small velocity? Just 0.4 meters per second. Whereas the bullet was moving, see, the bullet was moving with what speed? What was the speed with which the bullet was moving? The bullet was moving with a speed of 100 meters per second, but the gun, it recoiled with just what speed here? Okay, the gun basically recoiled with just 0.4 meters per second, right? So this is how you can basically calculate what is called as the recoil velocity of gun. Okay, so you can just go through this derivation once again. Okay, maybe it's a bit slant over here, right? And then you can actually apply this law of conservation of momentum for collisions, okay, for this gun, whatever the examples which I have taken. Okay, so this is how we basically have the derivation for law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so just go through the video once again, maybe once or twice, write it down properly in a notebook. Okay, then I think surely you will be able to follow it. Okay, so with this lecture I'll just conclude, because it was a more of theoretical. You'll have to practice the derivation. So in examination the question which is asked is, state and prove law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so the statement is, already we have discussed, I have shown you the statement that it states that in a isolated system of interacting objects the total momentum always remains constant. Velocities will change, but if you add the total momentum initially, it will be equal to the total momentum finally. Okay, please view this video twice, thrice. Okay, and I think you'll surely write it down properly, and then only you'll be able to understand it. Okay, thank you.